Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to review the Uni Posca paint markers. These are made by Uni Mitsubishi Pencil, the Japanese company that also makes the uni ball pens and other types of stationery. So the reason for me buying this is because a few weeks ago I reviewed this book by Carlos Stengar, I Am Milan. You may want to check out the video review. So in this book I was really inspired by this style where he drew lines over existing art. So you see these colored ink lines. Alright, this is a bit clearer. So these are opaque ink lines that go over the existing artwork. You can see how this orange appears on top of the blue windows that are behind. Here's another example where we have this orange lamppost that is in front of this building behind, and notice the white paint here. This is also opaque and it goes over the art that is behind. I find this style of overlapping ink lines onto other elements to be quite fun and exciting, so I want to replicate that with my sketches. And I went to take out some of the paint markers that I have. These are the colorful derwent graphic line painters that I have. So I use these line painters to draw over a sketch that I have, and unfortunately the ink isn't as opaque as I expected. So here you can clearly see the black lines, they still show through the orange ink which is on top. And here as well, the contrast is not good because this yellow ink, this is not opaque enough. For darker ink against light background it's alright, but for lighter inks against dark background it doesn't work that well with the derwent line painters. So that led me to contacting Carlos Stengar to ask him what drawing materials he used to create those opaque lines, and he told me he's using the Uni Posca. So that's why I bought this set. These paint markers come in different tip sizes and the tips are removable. These inks, they are permanent on wood, textile and cardboard. If you use them on glass or on smooth surfaces, you can actually remove the ink. But if you draw on matte surfaces, they are going to be permanent. So these are the 8 colors we have here. Let's open one and see. These paint markers are quite thick, which is the typical size for markers. So that's the Uni brand. It's a paint marker, so they have some sort of ball bearing or thing inside for you to mix the ink. This is a paint marker, so they have some sort of ball bearing or thing inside for you to get the ink flowing. So this is the pen tip. It is actually retractable. So let me try and get some ink out. It takes a while for the ink to flow. Alright, I hope this is opaque enough. One thing I don't like about this marker is you cannot see how much ink is left inside. So when it comes to creating professional artwork, you may want to have extras standing by because you don't want to use it halfway and run out of ink and you have no backup. With any new art supplies that you have, I recommend you test them first before you use them to create your art, because you don't want surprises like this. So let me test out the colors on this black cardboard. I want to see how opaque the inks are. So this is yellow. So this is quite opaque, and this is the sort of performance I'm looking for. I can still see some black showing through, but I would definitely consider this to be opaque. So the next color I have here is pink. Pink or rose. So this is fantastic. Let me write with the side of the tip to see if I can get a thicker line. This is very nice. I like this. I like this a lot. Next color is light blue. Again, you can see it's so opaque. And this is blue. This is a darker color, but you can see the contrast against the black. It's still quite a strong contrast. The ink flow is pretty good. Let's see what happens when we have black on black. These are water-based inks. They do not smell, they dry very quickly, and as you can see, they are very opaque. It's good to know that I have not wasted my money. So now I'm going to use the paint markers for drawing. I'm going to draw this in. I'm going to draw the buildings with black ink and then paint with watercolor, and for the lampposts, the cables and the cars in front, I will be drawing with the colored paint markers. So for this portion of the video, I'm just going to time-lapse it. It's important to dry the sketch properly. If not, later on when you draw over with the paint markers, the ink is going to feather and that's not going to be good. I'm going to add tiny details using the derwent paint markers first because the tip here it's much smaller. This is more appropriate for adding details like this. I want to add some shadows below the signboard. And now it's time to draw with the Posca paint markers. So I'm going to draw this big, large car right in front. Right, the contrast between this white versus this background, it's not that strong because the background is a bit light. So that is obviously not the correct color to use. I'm going to switch over to using this color instead. This is blue and this works much better. So when we have light on light, it's not going to show up. So this is dark on light. For the next two cars, I'll be using this green colored marker. So that's how the markers sound like on the paper. And then we have this yellow taxi. Notice how the black lines, they are covered as I draw over with the yellow marker. So this color, this paint marker, this is very opaque, very nice. And let's have a black car right here. Let's draw some road markings on the ground. So I will usually use my white gel pen to do so, but the lines for the white gel pen, it's thin. So this is good for drawing thick lines. Alright, for the lamppost, I'm going to use red. So let's see how good this is. Now to cover the ink that is behind you, May need to go over the paint a few times, but this is certainly opaque enough. See this part here where it goes over the black? Let's have a bit more detail on the advertising board. See this part here? I should have drawn the windows first before I draw with the red paint. So some planning is definitely required. Let me add some lines to separate the background from the foreground. So this is where it's not suitable to use the paint marker because the lines are going to be too thick. Next, I'm going to draw the hanging cables with my fountain pen. I want to add a little bit more details to the structure here. The last thing I want to do is perhaps make this car in the foreground a bit darker. Alright, so this is the completed sketch. Now these Posca markers, they perform just the way I expected them to, so that's really great. These markers have opened up so much possibilities. Now we can have light against dark, we can have dark against light, we can have colored inks against dark background, colored inks against white or light background. The colors look matte when dry, and these colors, they do not look too glaring, they do not look out of place when used with watercolor. So this watercolor and Posca marker combination, it's fantastic. Let me just pen slowly across the artwork, across the sketch to let you see the details. Now this paper that I'm using, this is Indigo Art Papers. It's 100% cotton handmade watercolor paper. I bought this on Amazon and I got the paper bound into a sketchbook by the Society of Physical Disabled here in Singapore. This paper surface, its cold press, is a bit rough, so early on while I was drawing with pen and ink and drawing with the Posca markers, I could hear some rough sounds. The watercolor that I have used here, this is the Sennelier Aqua Mini set. I'm trying to use up that set. So here, this is something I was wondering about. Maybe I should have drawn the green car overlapping the blue, or maybe the blue overlapping the green. So in this case, it would probably make more sense to draw the cars further in the background first, like the yellow cap, and then the green car overlapping the yellow cap, and then the blue car overlapping the green cars. So to conclude, these are fantastic markers. They perform very well. The ink dries very fast, and when the ink is dry, you can still apply watercolor over the ink. The ink is not water soluble. The only downside is there's no way to see how much ink is left inside, and I do not know how much ink is originally inside, so I don't know how long these markers will last. I really enjoyed using these markers. By the way, if you guys know of any other markers that feature colored opaque inks, let me know in the comment section below. I would love to try them out. So that's all for today's video. If you're interested to get these markers, you can check out the Amazon affiliate links that I have for you in the video description below. Thanks for watching. I hope this video is helpful. See you in the next one. Bye!